Because I've been saying, oh, this woman is crazy.
No, it ain't. It's not just her. It is overwhelming everywhere.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
it is. And then I think we're probably all type A people to a certain degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I feel like with this C. Like I said, my Dr. Palermo, you do not hear this right now.
Is he online?
Yeah,
I'll
he
tune
is.
out. That's
But
fine.
the overview is so long, and I just feel like I have so much in there that I don't really feel like it's supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
I don't know where to cut it off, and I don't know.
That's why I asked Dr. P just to go over the rubric tonight for some clarity, because that's where I'm sort of kind of confused at.
If y'all need some clarification on the SIP-C, I think I can do that.
Okay.
Glad to do it with the whole group. I'd be glad to do individualized instruction and differentiation at the end if need be. But we can do breakout rooms
like,
or whatever.
It sounds like the whole group needs it, Dr. P.
Okay. I've gotten drafts of A and B from most of you. If we need to tackle C together, we can do that.
Yeah,
John has submitted a draft, and he's got a good start on it. So he has something he can share with you if you want, if you ask and he wants. Yeah, let's see who else comes. I mean, it's still early. It's not even 6 yet by my watch, but I can address the SIP-C. Part of my agenda tonight is to check in with y'all and see how everybody's doing. I want to do that round robin again after 6 p.m. But whatever else you need in terms of preparation for this weekend or work on the evidences, bring it up, please. Don't leave our Zoom tonight with questions. And chit chat for a minute.
Tina and Vera, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm going
Tina.
crazy.
Hey, Tina.
Hey guys. So
I thought I saw Vera. Where did she go?
Tony, here I
down
am.
here.
Where are you? Oh,
Hey,
I didn't see you.
Hey, how are you?
Are you feeling better?
Much better. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for your prayers.
Yes.
Vera was trying to hide. Don't be trying to hide, Vera.
Tony, I dropped my pen.
Oh.
I need to be hiding. I need my beautician to come back.
That's what my wife is saying too.
I know. I took my nails off too. It's
I
awful.
know, and they're in such bad shape. I have some like little iridescent nail polish on to try to hide it. But it's terrible.
I said I've got next week. I got to figure out what to do.
Take them off.
Bless you, females' hearts.
Well, I think nails are essential.
Right.
Hair and nails are essential.
Agree.
See, I ain't got no hair. I can just take my clippers, go right down the middle of mine, and I'm done. If need be.
This is the best ponytail I've had in weeks.
I don't think I've blow dried the back of my hair for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It just comes to the in the back and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hey, second Lisa.
Hello, how are y'all?
Good. How are you?
I was supposed to have a fill-in today, and I couldn't do it, so. Right there.
Just take it off.
Has anybody heard from John? Do we know if he's going to join us? John Brooks?
I hadn't heard from him.
Okay. I do
actually, he did. He sent an email for our group, and he said we would hopefully get clarification for Saturday. So he knew. He's like, if he said, well, maybe we can get some more clarification on Wednesday. So that let me think that he would be joining us.
Okay. It's still early. I got 6:02 by my watch, but I'm going to get started and say hello to all of you and thank you for joining in. I hope John can join us and complete the crowd. But part of my purpose tonight is to check in with you and see how you're doing. Next on the agenda is to try to address any questions that you have about this weekend or about the evidences and expectations or ideas about the weekend's activities. And then whatever else is on your mind. And again, we can take some of those as whole group or break out as need be. But so far in my contacts, Vera Richardson is the one person I know who's contracted this illness. And I'm so glad to see that you're well and recovered, Vera. As we go around, is anybody else sick? Are you all well? Is everybody good?
We had two in our district. We had two cafeteria women to contract it. One actually works at our school, but she just posted yesterday on Facebook that she's out of isolation. Her cough is still pretty bad, but she can ride in her car. She just can't go in anywhere. And her husband is still being isolated, but he has no symptoms though.
Well, that's
So,
good.
yeah.
Good. Let's go around. And Vera, start for us. Tell us what it was like, and then how are you now, and report on loved ones and your school and other stuff. What's good? What's happening?
So March 13th, my husband and I went to Washington, D.C. for a meeting / family gathering. There was 16 of us there. Had a ball. Sunday we came home. The following the Tuesday that followed that Sunday, my oldest twins had a birthday, so we did a little gathering. Then Wednesday, Eric gets up and he has chills, aches, his throat sore. Well, I'm just thinking it's allergies, because my household, everybody has allergies in my household. So I'm just thinking it's allergies. Well, Thursday morning, I'll wake up with the same thing. So here I go again. It's got to be the allergies that's getting us. So Saturday, I go get my nails done. And when I walk out the nail shop, I was freezing. I mean, I got in my car and it was probably high 80s. And I got in my car and turned my heat on because I was freezing. Still had no idea. I went to Albemarle with a friend of mine, came home, and I got a phone call. You need to be on a conference call by 7:50. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking the same group that went, because we're preparing for our family reunion in DC next year. So I'm thinking somebody has an update. So, well, the update was one of the family members' wife tested positive that Saturday, and she wanted us to know if you're exhibiting any of these symptoms, you need to go get checked. And I was like, oh my God. I said, Eric and I are exhibiting all of these symptoms, with the exception of the shortness of breath. So she was like, you need to call the hospital. So I called the hospital. They sent me to this COVID hotline. And the guy was like, well, Vera, sounds like you got the flu. I said, okay, I can deal with the flu as long as it's not COVID-19. I said, but I was around someone with it. So to make a long story short, I got up Monday. Well, we immediately quarantined ourselves. And my daughter that has chronic kidney disease, I sent her to my mother's sister. I said, just take her, keep her. And I mean, she's 31, but not keep her, but because I don't know what we have, and I don't need her having this, because it'll take her straight out of here. So that Monday, I called the doctor and I gave him my symptoms. They called me back and they said, Vera, can you be in Concord by 10:20? So we was in Concord by 10:20, and I knew something was wrong because Eric loves Chick-fil-A. And we got to Concord about 10 o'clock, and he says, hey, let's go get breakfast. I said, well, cool. Well, time he bit into his sandwich, he started throwing up. And Eric never throws up, never. I was like, I didn't say anything to him because he panics a lot. He worries. So I didn't say anything to him, and I was like, oh my God. So we went, we got tested, we came back home. The next Tuesday morning, about 7:45, my phone rings, and Dr. Davis tell us that we were both positive. We had the chills. We had the sore throat. We had the fever of 102. It never got past 102.6. There was no appetite. We didn't eat anything for 14 days, probably about 16 days, nothing but applesauce and water.
Huh.
Tylenol, that's all we could take. And we just wrote it out. Now, I'm some of you may know, you may not know, I'm raising my 12-year-old grandson, and he was here the entire time. And thank God, but he was so funny because every time he would come out of his room, he would look like Superman. He was all bandaged up, and he would like run into the kitchen and run back in the bedroom, run in the kitchen, run back in the bedroom. And I had enough strength every night just to get up, wipe down my counters, the cabinets, everything that we touched. And I'm still doing this to this day. I wipe everything. I'm the last one to go to bed. I wipe down everything because my household can't take this no more. And Eric, he sort of took a little longer to get back in the groove of things because he has some underlying medical condition. His breathing probably got erratic at times, but not to the point where he had to go in the hospital. And it was just like one day. So, but other than that, after probably 5 days of running high temps, we were fine. We were still quarantined, but we were fine.
I'm so glad to hear it. That is some story. Thanks for sharing. Can we round robin real fast? In my, what do you call that? Hollywood Squares? In my Hollywood Squares, Shonda Ellis, you're next. How are things with you?
Hey, so with the family, everything is going well. Haven't contracted anything yet, and I don't know if it's from spraying down the Amazon boxes really well before bringing them in the house. But like you heard me saying at the beginning, before everybody jumped online, and I was talking to Lisa, it's just been really busy, like way more busy. Working with the school and the teachers and everyone online than I imagined it could be, because I didn't think that we were going to be as inundated with as many emails and online conferences and et cetera that we have since we've been out of school on the 16th, to the point where you could literally be online like from 8 o'clock in the morning all the way until like sometimes it's been like 10 and 11 o'clock at night. And you know, taking into consideration the kids and everything still have to be taken care of. So it's been very busy in Wake County Public Schools. My husband, you know, his business, he had to send everybody home as well, so he's been working from home. So we've been trying to tag team with the 4-year-old. The 15-year-old has been handling it well, even though she's very sad that she has not seen her friends, you know, since they closed schools. And because of course we're not allowed, even if they live down the street, we're not allowing them to interact with each other right now, of course.
At 15, that's pretty hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. So I told her to make the best of social media at this time. At least you all still get to see each other's faces. And at least you're well, because the one thing that, you know, she's got to understand is that the whole purpose for us having to, you know, stay at home, so that hopefully, you know, we can have a lot less people to be affected by this. I know my principal, she has lost this past weekend an uncle and a niece to COVID-19. I think the uncle was it was her daddy's brother. I think he was in his 60s. And I think the niece was a little younger than that. Maybe she was like 40 or something, but she was actually she was a caregiver. She was taking care of him when he got sick. So if you all can just keep our principal in prayers because she's from Chicago, so she's kind of upset right now that she can't
Not go.
go there and see her family as they're, you know, mourning their loss at this time. So it's just a praying time for us all. So.
And my prayers do go out to her.
Yeah.
John, when you're sitting just right, you've got eagle's wings sprouting here. Nice. I like the backdrop. John, can you briefly tell us how you're doing? How are things going with you?
I'm doing great. Vera, first of all, I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better and doing well, and I'll pray for you and your family. That's
Thank you.
amazing. So you're the first person I personally know that's been impacted by this. So it gives it a whole different perspective for me. So wow. But I'm good to see you on here tonight, and I'm glad you're doing well. Makes my little things I was gonna complain about a little trivial at this point. So I'm just gonna say I'm doing great. I mean, my wife is of course a nurse, and so she has to work on the front line every day with a lot of individuals that are being impacted. So the biggest challenge I've had is just trying to balance not having childcare for my kid and still being responsible for all of the things that the district has placed on me to do from home, which has been extremely challenging to be a parent and lead a school from my couch. So that's been my biggest challenge so far.
Glad
So
to hear you say that, John. I'm certain it is a challenge, and everybody's juggling many things. But yeah, being a principal, I'd like to hear from the other principals, but it's got to be a challenge.
Yeah, and I typically don't say much because I'm a newbie in the district, but I had to speak up a couple days ago, and I don't know if the district staff really understood how a lot of the things that they're asking us to do, how challenging that is from us to do when many of us have. I mean, I have a 4-year-old running around the house, and you want me on Zoom sessions for 4 hours a day. I can't do that. So that's been my biggest challenge.
Thanks, John. Lisa Moore, tell us what's good with you.
It's the greatest blessing that I've had is that both of my boys have been home from school. So it's just been nice to just be around them. I mean, all three of us will have a laptop going. They're doing their classes online from UNCW, and I'm either doing schoolwork for Gardner Webb or my actual work. And in the house, I still go to work a lot because of just I guess the demands that are kind of there. It seems like I have an email or two every day from a parent needing something. I am getting a little more uncomfortable as each day goes and the numbers continue to grow, to come in contact with parents. You know, we've had a lot. We had 3 Google Meet meetings today in my county. And one of the biggest challenges right now is that we did not have kindergarten registration yet. Half the county did, but you have to, you know, we were on a schedule because of, you know, you need the nutrition department there, you need the speech pathologist there, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we had not had our kindergarten registration, so they did not do their assessments or anything. So right now we're trying to figure out how to do that, but also abide by the stay-at-home order. So that was a big part of our brainstorming in one of my meetings today. So it's just like you said, John, like everyone's saying, I guess it's just a lot of meetings, a lot of challenges, trying to think outside the box. trying to put your own feelings aside to take care of other people, because sometimes you do get frustrated, or at least I do. Maybe I'm selfish, but I want to say, you know, sometimes I want to say, how much do I have to give, and how accommodating do I need to be? And, you know, I stayed one night till almost 7 o'clock waiting for a parent because they said that they needed to come after work, and they never showed up. You know, it's stuff like that. You know, it gets frustrating, and I don't know where that line is, because I keep thinking about my kids and their needs. So that's a big struggle for me. But you know, so it's all good. But I have had more time with my boys. I've been able to stay up. My 22-year-old son and I, we binge watched The Blacklist. And so, you know, we had some good time, and then we were staying up late. I don't know if I would ever really have that time again with him if this was not happening, because how old he is. So I have to count that as a blessing. And I'm trying to savor the voice at this point, as old as they are.
Lisa, your audio was working, but the video was not there too. So, okay, thanks. Renita, is your experience in Durham same or similar to John's? It's secondary, not elementary, but working you to death with Zooms?
Yes. We've had plenty of Zoom sessions, but recently I think we're going to start switching to Microsoft Meets or some type of Meets because Zoom might not be as secure as they're thinking they want their platform to be. But aside from the meetings, it has been a challenge, like with everyone else. I'm fortunate that we are in a position where we can get laptops and hotspots and different things to the families that need them, or packets of information. So that is a blessing. The biggest challenge with the high school level is, of course, our seniors. We've pretty much got everybody situated, but there are a few students that, you know, juniors and seniors, they don't sleep at regular times that regular people sleep, like from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. They sleep during the day. And then, so I get my emails starting at 11 p.m. Hey, Miss Jordan, if you're still up, you know, so I'm over online. So anything that they have to do for Ed Options, credit recovery, North Carolina Virtual Public School, I'm their go-to person. So that's a challenge. My schedule kind of goes around my students whenever they need me. So I don't have an 8 to 5. It's, you know, pretty much whenever. And then just kind of keeping up with that, with the meetings, and then my work for Gardner Webb is it's a juggling act. But I'm making it work. I'm glad that Vera, I'm glad you're doing well. And John, please tell your wife she is a hero. All the nurses out there, hats off, because they have the hardest job out there now, and they're putting their lives at risk, and we realize what they're doing for us, for our safety. That's it. You're muted.
Tony, I don't think we've heard from you.
And just to add to what everyone else has said, just feel like you're overworked. Meetings on top of meetings. Sometimes, like I was in a meeting today, seemed like it for 3 or 4 hours, and basically just saying the same thing we've already said and just getting updates. So like everybody else, just getting burnt out.
Everybody well at your house?
Yeah, pretty much. My niece was diagnosed. Well, she was diagnosed in May with cancer, and I think is at the end of her journey. Hospice came in on Monday, so we're, as a family, just dealing with that. Other than that, you know, we're good.
Well, keep her in our prayers for that. And Lisa D, finish us up, I think.
Much of the same of what other folks have said. I think Lee County initially just kind of bombarded us with making sure all of the teachers were trained on Google Meets. And so there was PD that first week, and everyone had to have a classroom set up, and we had to have a master schedule to upload. And it was just a lot of logistical things that we would get going, and then it would have to be tweaked because new expectations would be put in place. And so it was just constant where your mind was just always in response mode, and just being virtually fatigued at the end of the day, if the day ever ended. So it was just a lot, but folks are staying pretty healthy. Lee County kept our numbers down pretty low up until Friday. We were around, I think, just 2 or 3 cases. And since then, it's just spiked. It's just been increasing pretty steady. And I think today during our principal meetings, because we've been having those every day, sometimes multiple times a day, there's just this new sense of urgency again of this wave of, it's not just a 2-week, 3-week, 4-week plan. Like, there's that potential that social distancing is going to affect next school year or the year after. You know, it's just, it seems like there's a shift now that we're trying to think even longer term with how we're going to continue to maintain this virtual schooling, when the reality is so many of our kids can't connect, and they may be able to drive to sit in a parking lot and access the internet, but how realistic is that to ask families right now to sit in a parking lot to do Google Classroom assignments? And so it's just a lot, like everyone has said, but staying healthy and just going with the flow and trying to stay connected to our families and our kids. And I feel like I'm doing a lot of staff morale type things right now, because the staff, you know, I'm checking in on certain staff members that I know are having a harder time, and we're trying to do a lot of things to stay connected as a staff. And so hopefully that's helped everyone kind of stay in the game when it's been pretty trying on everybody. But overall, we're hanging in there.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And thanks for echoing what lots of folks have said. So let me see if I can share this.
Dr. Palermo.
Yes.
I have an idea to share.
Okay.
I can't take credit for it being my idea, but we're going to do it Friday, and my staff it's the most excited they've been since we left. We're doing what we're calling brunch no business on Friday. And so at 11:30, we're all going to log on. They're going to have like a brunch item, and we're just going to talk and chat and catch up. No school business allowed. And they've been texting and emailing me all week, excited about this, wanting to know if they can bring their families into the Zoom session and things like that. So that if you haven't done anything like that for the staff, I would strongly recommend it.
We did do a Google Meet like that, and it was awesome. We did like a little happy hour. If you're using Zoom, I will say we wish that everyone had had the grid option during it so that we could all see each other, because some folks just had like 3 faces on the side. But there was about 40 of us together one evening, and it was awesome to get together. No schoolwork discussion. It was just checking in. We did some games and things like that. So yeah, that helps.
I was going to say, if I could share real quick, we were trying to figure out ways to connect with our students. And again, this was a few weeks ago. So we had 2 elementary schools. They rode around in the neighborhoods and all that. But we decided not to do that. So we each made a sign just saying how much we missed our kids. And one of the teachers put together a video, and they actually had it on the news. So that was really good that a lot of our students were able to see us through that, because a lot of them don't have, the internet. So a lot of them were able to see us because they posted they played our video on the news station for them to see.
Wow. I'm going to bring it back around here to instruction, and maybe we'll move on to the CIIP. I don't know. But yeah, so how does this change the whole notion of school? Pandemic, being home, social isolation, and expecting folks to learn online. As Lisa D suggested, we may be looking at longer term, and we may be looking at some systemic change. John, you sound somewhat like a revolutionary in one of your posts there, but I think we are going to have systemic change, and unless issues of equity are addressed in terms of pushing out widespread broadband for all and access for all, then I think the notion of online education isn't going to fly so well. Is going to require, going forward, is going to require lots of adaptation and adjustment for all of us. I'm going to try to model that by adjusting expectations on the SIP for starters, but going forward, y'all are going to, this is going to require rethinking lots of stuff, and it's going to require some leadership, which I think has been lacking in lots of corners. But Palermo's not going to preach to you tonight. I'm going to try to keep it brief too. I want, if I can, to go to my desktop and review the structure for this weekend, and hopefully address some questions that some of you might have about what's coming up. Are we good to move on? Okay. I learned how to do reactions. This was something that didn't used to be on my little toolbar before, and now I can clap or add thumbs up. Do you know how to do that? Look for reactions down at the bottom of your toolbar, and maybe you can learn something new for Zoom. Let's see, where am I here? Okay, so can you see my desktop now? Did I do that right? Tony, did you see the desktop? Okay. One place I'm going to go real fast, and let's see if I can pull this thing up. Oh no. Nah. Okay, folks, I'm struggling, so bear with me because I'm going to try to model what I want y'all to do this weekend. Okay, Tony, you be my checker again. Can you see a PowerPoint that says online norms? Is it there? Okay, so online norms for synchronous learning. This is something that came to me via some other professors at Gardner Webb, but I adapted it, and so here's what is expected, just so you know what's coming this weekend, please. We're going to learn together Saturday and Sunday. I'm thinking a block on Saturday morning, 9 to 12 maybe, and then Saturday afternoon after we take a lunch break, maybe 1 to 3, and then on Sunday morning, 9 to 11 or 12 or something like that again, and then we'll definitely be done by lunch on Monday. So I hear your sessions are way too long, 4-hour principal meetings. We're not going to do that, but we are going to try to meet this weekend and have some sort of online instead of our face-to-face. It was fun coming to Thomasville, but we're not going back this semester, and they haven't announced it yet, but I think you're going to be totally online with your grad work this summer. You're going to need a quiet, dedicated place. Hopefully your broadband will work at your house. Headphones can be a good idea. If you have to go to school, I hope you don't have to do that. When we're doing online learning, and everybody's doing it tonight, so I don't think this is a problem, having the video on is important. Now, if your child walks in and you want to turn your video off for a minute, please, do that if you have to. Don't leave class confused. Please limit texting or sidebars or checking your email during class. Thank you. Do take a break if you need to, but I'm going to try to build enough breaks in this weekend that I'm going to take frequent breaks because I need them every hour or so. And appropriate attire. I'm not wearing my tie tonight, but I'm not wearing my rattiest t-shirt that I just mowed the lawn in either. So I guess that's important. And since again, these are norms, I would ask, does anybody have any other norms you would like me to add to our online meeting norms? Questions? Feedback? Comments? Wait time, 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming that silence means no changes. Are we back? Hello? Let me share another screen. Go back here. Where was I? Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. Dang. Sorry, let me get back where I want to be. So what else? Jump in. Tony is asking about the SIP C. I think I've seen drafts of SIP A and B from most everybody. I can go over my SIP C rubric as soon as I get logged back in here. Holy moly macaroni. I'm not modeling very well for you. This is my plan for the weekend, and I've loaded it now over in this toolbar on the left in the weekend 3. I've put Zoom links and stuff in here. Tony, can you continue to see this? Are we seeing it? Okay. So Saturday morning, you would just click here to log on. The other activities that I'm going to be presenting are here. They do include, okay, so I'm not going to say any more about Saturday morning, except my Saturday morning stuff is there. Saturday afternoon is where I am picturing these presentations. Talk to me a little bit, please, about the, as we were leaving Thomasville last month, I hope you remember, I said black. We're going to read this book and you're going to teach us. Well, chapters 1, 2, and 8 are called the overview. And I hope you remember Tina and John and Lisa D are group 1. Implications 3 and 7 is group 2, Ellis, Faison, Griffin. And group 3 is Vera and Lisa M. Do something with this book. There are a lot of neat ideas about feedback and assessment. I don't expect you to outline the book and tell us what's in the chapter. We should have done that. We should have read that. But think about what you would do with this book if you wanted to introduce an idea to your faculty or to a group of colleagues studying instructional leadership. Pick one idea or 2 or 3 and do something with it to engage us. That's my hope and my expectation. Now talk back at me about this. What do you get about it? What do you understand? Have you already talked to one another about it? Have you already created something? What's going on? I'm going to be quiet and I'd love some feedback.
Dr. P, I think Lisa and I are going to meet tonight to formulate a strategy for this weekend. You're muted.
Thank you for telling me. And would it be helpful if I put you into breakout rooms by group to talk later?
That would
Or
be great.
I can do that. And if it doesn't work out, yes, do please get together afterwards. But hopefully you can be smoother at presenting and facilitating a lesson and learning that I'm doing here tonight via Zoom. You know, maybe you would practice it a little bit. And then I'm hoping for a 30-minute text facilitation on Saturday afternoon. I've blocked out an hour for each group so that we can fumble with Zoom and mess around and hopefully get her right. I don't expect them to go over 30 minutes, but when some of you get started, it's easy to go longer. And then if it's short, we'll debrief and take a break before the next one. So again, lots of interesting ideas. I don't expect you to do everything in the book, but to share an idea or two in a way that would deepen our understanding of assessment for learning. Does that make sense?
So we're not really like what you're saying, we're not covering the information that are in our chapters that were assigned. We're just picking out some of a strategy that is discussed in it, and we're teaching that strategy to the group.
That is certainly one thing to do, Lisa. Yes. And maybe it's a strategy that you've seen work at your school. Maybe it's a strategy that questioning that is done particularly well at your school or in your district. And you can share tools and examples. If you can engage the rest of us, and understanding that this is distant learning, if you can engage the rest of us somehow in some deeper understanding of a big idea, then that's great. That's the whole sheboygan right there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that's the expectation there. What am I going to do with this stuff? How am I going to assess what you've done? Very gently, for starters, is how I'm going to do it. But dang. So I have to have each of these things open separately if I want to show them to you, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, man. Okay, so I thought I was going to open the text facilitation, and I don't have that one open for you either. So, nah. So, open the text facilitation rubric and take a look at it, and that's how I hope to assess you, or for you to self-assess at the end of your presentation or your text facilitation. Why am I doing all this stuff? Because I think it's supposed to be a best instructional practice. For you to perform, to meet some standard, you need to know what the expectation is. So I've outlined it here in a rubric for you. And again, that is supposedly modeling some of the ideas and assessment for learning, okay? So again, that's Saturday afternoon, right? Some of you have been the unhappy recipients of a congratulatory email from me. What the heck am I talking about? I reached out to Lisa Duffy and to Lisa LaMonica Moore and to John, and I said, I think you guys have got some stuff going on in terms of instructional leadership. How about sharing something with us on Sunday? And these three leaders from our cohort have agreed to do that. Tina has too, but I think you should concentrate on your evidences and everything else going on in your life right now before you jump in and share. But honestly, again, starting this semester and thinking even a month ago in Thomasville, about instructional best practices, I had in mind to try to tap the collective knowledge that is in this Zoom right now and to have you share with one another. John has some real good structures and accountability procedures in place, I believe, at his elementary school. And I've asked each of the Lisas to share some stuff too. So I have a piece to share and some follow-up to do on Sunday morning. And then the rest of Sunday this weekend is going to be Lisa and John. And I thank them in advance. And anybody else has anything else they want to throw into the mix, we're open. But I don't want you to have to prepare something different or something new at this point. Going to pause and let you jump in if there's any questions or comments, concerns. I'm not sure the video is going to be any help to you. I did reload the SIP introductory video because I didn't think the link was live. But anyway, okay, let me get rid of that and go. I'm just going to talk at you for just a minute and hold up a sticky note that you might or might not be able to see. Do you remember me ever talking about something called the three-legged stool? Yeah, three-legged stool. Okay. Chandra, you're on board with me. What's one of the legs of the three-legged stool?
Curriculum, I guess.
Yeah,
Assessment.
curriculum is one of them. Instruction is another one, and the third one's assessment. Thank you. You're on board. Okay. The SIPC is asking you as candidates to look at the three-legged stool in your district. Curriculum in terms of what curriculum is available and easily available that teachers can get their hands on and wrap their hands around. In the bad old days, when I was a principal 10 years ago, the curriculum was notebooks on the shelf, and we had to have 2 copies in every school. One was in the library and one was in the principal's office. And I guess, nobody else had access to the curriculum. Now it's all online, but what is done in terms of curricular units? Wake, I know, has CMAP and all kinds of crazy, tons of stuff online. Auditing that and seeing what is available to teachers to wrap their hands around in terms of the standards, the standard curriculum, and what curricular materials are there. So if you're auditing that one leg of the stool, Tony, look to see what's available in books or what's available online for teachers, and is anybody doing anything with it? Is there professional development around understanding the standards, unpacking the standards, unwrapping the standards? We're going to do some of that stuff, but is that going on in the district? So question 1 is, what's going on in terms of access to the curriculum? The curriculum's out there, but is it put in front of teachers? Are teachers encouraged to use it? Is it a living document in your school, I guess? Then I forget which leg of the stool comes next, but I think it's assessment. It's asking, is there a balanced assessment system in your district? And that would simply be, are there formative as well as summative assessments? Are we hitting all the standards in terms of the national and the state tests? You would be, or else you'd be in trouble with the law. And what kinds of district benchmarks are there in terms of assessments that, as part of a balanced system, are tied to instruction, to the standards, curriculum, and instruction? So are there benchmarks or district-created assessments also that are tied to the standards? So you look at curriculum, you audit, or look at assessment. And then look at instruction and see what's there too. Again, I came from Wake, which I'm pretty sure Durham and other large counties have big bodies of instructional materials online lesson plan after lesson plan for teachers aligned with the standards that are saying, you know, if you're a beginning teacher, and this is what I often did with my novice teachers, I walked in and gave them CMAP, or I gave them a notebook, and I said, you know, here's the standard, here is a lesson. You don't have to teach this lesson, but it's a pretty good one, and you might start there, and then next year refine it and make it your own. You know, are there instructional materials? Tony, you can do a whole bunch of this stuff, or any of us, but Tony asked. You can do a whole bunch of this stuff from your computer at home. You can see what the district has and what they're doing with it. You can see what assessments are there and what the districts are doing with it. And you can look at instruction and see. The tricky part is getting a group together and looking at all of it together and assessing and saying, well, this is really good and strong. This is not so good, and we got to do better there. And where do we do better? At the things, you know, you write an improvement plan or recommendations for improvement that are about boosting the lesson plans, because we don't have any of those, or boosting the alignment of formative assessments because we're not doing a good job there. And that might be tied into PD that you offer to people. That was part B. A was your big, let's gather all the data. B was sort of PLCs and collaboration. This one is strictly auditing curriculum, instruction, and assessment, those three legs of the stool. I'm going to shut up and ask, does that help clarify stuff for the SIP-C?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So we're talking about what the auditing part is, our strengths and weaknesses, the things that we see that we're doing well in, and what we might need to change or implement.
Yeah, and in each of those other, I think there are 3 separate sections in the SIP-C, Tina, that are one on curriculum, one on assessment, and one on curriculum instruction assessment. And so at that point, try to describe for us what you found, and maybe give us screenshots of the stuff that you found online. And you know, so you're describing what you found, good and bad, and then the audit part, or the strengths, weaknesses, strengths, opportunities part, comes from the data you presented in ABC. Does that make sense?
So you said the strengths and weaknesses, we take them from A, B, and A and B.
I'm getting confusing. The parts about the curriculum, about the three-legged stool.
Oh, okay.
So you're checking to see, you know, what kind of curriculum resources are there, what's good, what could be improved, what kind of assessments do we do now, and what could be strengthened, what kind of instructional resources do we have, what could be strengthened. And again, this can be done in isolation. You can do it by gathering some data and shooting it out to people and saying, you know, give me your input on what you think are the strengths and weaknesses. And then you got 4 people on your team. You make a little table of the 4 people and say, here's what different folks said. Again, a lot of this is going to be qualitative. I think that the curricular resources, the instructional resources are really good. You look at the same thing and say, well, not so much. Could be better. And then that's qualitative data. That's getting the feedback from your team members about the strengths and opportunities is what you present, what you talk about. And yeah.
Okay.
What else is confusing or not?
Dr. P, a pacing calendar, is that the same thing as a pacing guide?
Yes, pacing calendar, pacing guide, curricular guides. They're called lots of different things. It's laying out the curriculum and saying, you know, in 3rd grade, this is what kids in math are supposed to learn.
Okay.
When we move and add in the section for when we move to the, I guess, shelter in place type thing, where the kids went home, with that, you know, are we just only talking about the curriculum? Because we're not really assessing the kids at this point, because we're not supposed to give any grades or anything, and there's not going to be any diagnostics, there's no EOGs, there's nothing that we're going to be able to do any summative assessments with.
There are two ways you can go about this, I think, Lisa. You can either describe what is or was the reality prior to pandemic, or you can describe that plus give us a couple of paragraphs of now everything's out the window and here's what we're doing instead.
All
We
right.
hope that life will get back to normal and that you might be doing professional development with people on best instructional practices next year, but you might not. Not having taken pandemic into account when we wrote this rubric, I don't care if you don't address it at all. But yeah, I think some reflection and some explanation that we went into lockdown a month, 6 weeks ago. This is the new reality. We hope that these recommendations will be implemented in another year. We hope I'll have an opportunity to Zoom with my superintendent and make some recommendations when we're not doing 13 other Zooms. But just describe what is and move on. If you all have not gathered from me, you're going to kind of get a pass this semester. And the university has actually said, if you're not able to complete and take the grade that I assign you, take a pass. Take a pass. You're going to pass for me anyway. I think you might prefer your A or B from me, but this semester, in terms of the work that you're doing to submit to me for grade and credit in your EDLS program, folks, I understand you're under pressure. I understand, Vera, that this is personal. I understand that you've got loved ones or friends or family or teachers and coworkers who are affected sorely by this, whether it's with COVID-19 or not. And we're going to do all right in the grad work, okay? Trust me. So what else can I do to help prep for this one last weekend when we're together? I can put you into separate rooms if you want to talk separately with your coworker about a breakout session, about your presentation. Is that a help?
Yeah, Dr. Palermo, did you?
Yes.
I may have missed it. Are we still starting at 8:30? What time?
No. If I didn't say it, 9 to 12 is the schedule for the morning, and I don't expect to go till 12. We will take a long lunch break, and then Saturday afternoon, 1 to, I guess I scheduled them for 1, 2, and 3. So 1 to 4, but you finish early. Start on time, finish early is my motto, right? That's my norm before I had online synchronous norms. And then Sunday morning, start again at 9. And I would not, we'll offer prayers for one another, but there's not a formal devotion scheduled for Sunday morning. I figure you're doing devotionals every day, praying over your children and your families. And that's the way, that's going to be the norm Sunday morning as well. We'll start up Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. Does that work for everybody? Okay. And again, we'll be gentle with the time. I cannot imagine a 4-hour principal meeting, but okay. What else? Before I break you out, what else do you need to hear from me? John, right there. That's perfect. Ears on the A&T hat. You got wings there, man. That's cool. Okay, so let me see who that was again. It was John and Lisa M. and Tina in group 1. Is that right? Do I have the groups right? Okay. And then
Lisa D. For that
it's
one.
Lisa D. Sorry.
Yes.
Lisa M., you're with Vera.
And last name Alexander, not Anderson.
Huh? When am I going to get this right? Tina, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I will switch that. And then it must mean Tony and Renita and Chandra?
Chandra.
Okay. thank you, folks. Write, call, email. Let me know what I can do for you.
Okay, I went to the breakout room, but nobody was there. So let me try to go again. I don't see how to get to it now. Okay.
Are you there now?
Dr. Palermo, you put me in the wrong room.
All right, where are you supposed to be, Chandra?
With Renita and Tony.
Let me see if I can fix this.
I was trying to figure out how to get out of there, and then I saw the leave breakout room.
How about now? Can you join breakout room 2? You have an invitation?
No, it hasn't given me the invitation yet. Let me see if they can, are they able to invite from within the room?
I thought I just put you in room 2.
No, because I would have a thing, like last time something came up.
Our strategy in the chapter, then we just do an activity teaching that concept as opposed to going and you know, going through and reading.
Girl, we were cracking up because
were you in a black hole?
When I popped up in the room, I was in there with Vera and Lisa.
Hey, look, Shonda, when I came in, I called Renita
in the
Vera.
wrong room. I was in there with Vera and and we just could not stop laughing. I was like, how do I even get out of here?
All right. So
I'm
we've practiced, and that was my error. Totally my fault.
Oh, okay.
All right then.